Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and this short video we're going to discuss the most important updates that took place during the previous 12 hours, during the previous night at the local time. First, we're going to start with Kherson area. We're going to talk about the settlement by the name of Kazachye Lageri and the settlement by the name of Krynki. As we discussed yesterday, the Ukrainians landed their infantry on the Russian bank of the Dnieper River. The Russians managed to counterattack, and according to the Russian sources, as a result of counter-offensive operation, the Russians managed to capture some number of Ukrainian forces and to force the Ukrainians to step back from this bank of the river. When talking about the Ukrainians, we haven't received nothing, so probably we can use the Russian piece of information. Furthermore, today we got another update, the photo update of this area. These red squares show us the areas of fires in these areas. So basically, according to this picture, we understand that where exactly the Ukrainians were landing. The Ukrainians landed yesterday in this area. After they landed, they start movements along the road in direction of Kazachye Lopani, and probably they managed to enter this settlement, and according to some sources, the Ukrainians captured the eastern edge of this settlement in the street of Michurina Street. Also on this video we see another red dot. Probably that was the position of Russian reserves, Russian operational squads, platoons that main purpose was to, let's say, to repel attacks or to be just reserves. And as I understand, the Ukrainians attacked and bombed those positions, and the Russians were forced to step back. After the Russians sent reserves and forced the Ukrainians to step back on in direction of islands, or even further in direction of Ukrainian bank of the river. So for now, we still haven't received 100% reliable information that the Russians managed to restore entire control over this area. So let's wait a little bit. Now we are moving to the most interesting areas of the front line, to the Vremivka Tactical Bridgehead and Bradley Square. And this night we got a lot of very interesting updates from this area. First of all, according to some Russian military experts, the Ukrainians, as a result of a local counter-offensive operation that took place on the north of Robotine, managed to enter Robotine itself. So this is the first evidence, the first piece of information. According to the Ukrainians, managed to penetrate the Russians' defense belt and, using a very fast attack, enter the northern part of the settlement. The Russians managed to regroup and to send some reserves, and as a result of counterattack, the Ukrainians were forced to step back. But anyway, this is something like that was a very interesting update, because today the Russians continue reporting that the Ukrainians have completed the regrouping and have already launched another wave of attack in direction of Robotine. So basically, that thing that the Ukrainians managed to enter probably was for them as a piece of meat for a dog, as a blood for a vampire, I don't know. So they feel the taste of success, felt the taste of some progress, and currently the Ukrainians are sending endless waves of infantry in direction of Robotine. So probably today there are going to be more updates and more fierce battles in the vicinity of this settlement. Furthermore, the Ukrainians published the video on how they managed to discover and to destroy the Russian armored vehicle, supply vehicle that were heading in direction of Robotine. As a result of a probably artillery strike, that armored vehicle was destroyed. Another interesting area is Vremivka Tactical Bridgehead, because we also got a lot of very interesting updates from this settlement. Yesterday, the Russian sources published the photo of the situation in this area. The Russians reported that Ukrainians managed to enter the northern part of Robotine, of Urozhine, which was already reduced to ruins. And as a result of fierce fightings in this area, the Ukrainians managed to capture some strongholds, some trenches in this settlement, some edge positions, and so on. The Russians reported that they managed to repel the Ukrainian attack and to force them to step back, but we haven't received any photo or a video evidence of that. So basically, we will use these geolocations showing that the northern part of Urozhine is already under Ukrainian control. We haven't received any updates about any attempt from the Ukrainian side to attack from Staromayorska, because if the Ukrainians want to complete the battle of Urozhine, to attack from the north is not the only thing they need to do. First of all, and the secondary direction should be from Staromayorsk in direction of the southern part, and to attack the south of Urozhine. But yet we haven't received receive nothing about this, so let's wait. Anyway, this morning the Russian sources also reported that Ukrainians accumulated significant number of infantry on the northern part of Urozhine. The Russians have already started bombing and shelling the forest lines on the north of Urozhine using the TOS flamethrower systems. As a result of those attacks, a lot of Ukrainian soldiers and infantry were destroyed in the forest lines. Now the Ukrainians, but anyway, that was not enough. The Ukrainians still have a lot of reserves, and today we also are going to see very bloody clashes for Urozhine. And probably there is a very high chances that the Russians will be forced to step back a little bit further to the south in the southern area of Urozhine. Now we are moving further and we are going to talk about Bakhmut, Artyomovsk, Klishchiivka, about this territory. After unsuccessful Ukrainian attempt to attack on the northern part of Artyomovsk, the Russians launched a counter-offensive operation, and basically the Russians forced the Ukrainians to step back very far from the water, Berkhovka water reservoir, and currently the closest Ukrainian positions are located somewhere on the southeast of Bogdanovka. The Russians published a very big video how they were clearing and how they were trying to implement clearing operation in this area. So basically the Russians have already cleared this area, and before the next video, probably if we are not going to get more updates, we'll update this territory at least as a gray zone. When talking about the southern area, we haven't received nothing, neither from Klishchiivka area, neither from Andreevka. After failed attempt of Ukrainian forces to attack in this direction during the previous 2 days, the Ukrainians currently need a small operational post to restore, to regroup, to evacuate wounded soldiers, and to get fresh forces. The Russians published the video how they were trying to bomb and destroy the left Ukrainian positions. So the Ukrainians were defeated, but they were trying to keep some forces on the edge position, and the Russians were hunting the Ukrainians with drones, with artillery systems, and basically were attacking them during all over the combat line along from Klishchiivka to Andreevka. The Ukrainians from their side published the video how they were hunting the Russian reserves and the Russian supply machines that were heading in the direction of the combat line. On this video we see how the Ukrainians attacked the Russian T-80 tank, and as a result of that strike by drone, according to the author of this video, that tank was destroyed. Now we are moving further, probably to the most interesting part of the front line, to the Kupiansk area. And the thing is that when talking about the situation on the ground, the Russians are saying that they continue advancing and developing their positions from the line between Liman I to Orlyanka to Ivanovka to Yagidne. But when talking about the situation in the vicinity of Kislovka-Kotlarovka fortification stronghold, the Russians haven't provided us any updates regarding their previous offensive operation in the direction of Ivanovka. The only update we got is the update from the Ukrainian side. We got the update that Ukrainian General Syrsky visited Kupiansk. Who is Syrsky? I'll remind you that this person was responsible for defense operation of Artyomovsk. Currently, he's responsible for offensive operation in Artyomovsk as well. He is the head of infantry army of Ukraine, something like this. Yesterday, he visited Kupiansk, and so that means that this is a very important region for the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians understand and realize the difficult situation, and within the next few days we are going to see increase of intensifying clashes from both sides, either from the Russians and from the Ukrainians. From Ukrainian side, they have completed the regrouping of their forces. They have moved more infantry, like 105th Brigade, 101st Brigade, 3rd Tank Brigade were redeployed in this area. The Ukrainians have removed 92nd Mechanized Brigade from this bridgehead, and the Ukrainians have moved the forces. 92nd Mechanized Brigade was redeployed in the direction of Chuguyev. The Russian experts were saying that 92nd Mechanized was redeployed in the direction of Kherson area, but after that update we haven't received any evidence, and now the Western deployment map have removed 92nd Brigade in the direction of Chuguyev, probably for regrouping, because that brigade was pretty damaged during the battle of Kupiansk and Liman front lines. And also another interesting update about the regrouping is that the brigade of 58th motorized brigade from Artyomovsk front line was removed in the direction of Sumy. And the Russian sources have already confirmed that Ukrainians have accumulated significant number of forces along Sumy and Kharkiv area, and one of the most experienced, well-trained Brigade 58's old, veteran 58's brigade was redeployed in this area, and the Russian experts confirmed that probably within the next few months, weeks, we are going to see the Ukrainians attempt to cross the border and to attack the territory of Russian Federation, of the mainland. And if we increase the number of updates that we have received from Kupiansk and Sumy front lines, we see that there are very fierce artillery and missile strikes from the Russian side and guided bombs as well. So that means that there are very big accumulation of Ukrainian forces. When talking about the Ukrainians, they continue, of course, bomb and attack the Russian settlements and towns, but yet I don't have at least some geolocated videos about those attacks, so I haven't added them as well. Now we are moving probably to another very interesting update to the territory of Belarus. The sources reported that Wagners have created another camp on the south of Gomel. So around 1,000 soldiers have arrived in the vicinity of Gomel and start preparation of the camp. This camp is located in 20 kilometers to the border with Ukraine. So basically, according to information we have, Wagners have created at least 3-4 bases on the territory of Belarus. The first base was established in the vicinity, in the central part of Belarus, in Osipovich. There are airfield, there are ex-military base, and probably this is the main logistics center of Wagner's. The second base was created in the vicinity of Brest when the Ukrainians, when the Russians started trainings with probably 38th motorized mechanized brigade of Belarusian forces. The third base was created in the vicinity of Suwalki Gap. Also the Wagner sent some infantry just to follow the situation, and currently we got the update about the fourth base. So basically this is like 3 points of pressure and possible 3 options of Ukraine, of Wagner's special operation on the north of Ukraine and in the vicinity of Suwalki Gap. So basically Wagners have redeployed their forces as close as possible to possible areas of some intensifying of actions, and these are the Chernigov area and Sumy region, these are Kovel area and the western part of Ukraine, and this is Suwalki Gap. And basically that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.